Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to the channel. Today we're talking about a really popular IEM, or like it's like one of the de facto best $20 IEM when you talk about which IEMs you have to buy. And it's Tanchjim Bunny. And if you've seen my thumbnail, it's today's video is gonna be spicy. But let's talk about that later. So this is the box. It's a typical Tanchjim box where it opens like that. It slides out and it opens. So in the box, you get two sets of ear tips. So this is the pouch, and this has the feel of like a chair of the car. Actually, no, it's the roof of the car. Yeah, it's the roof of the car. Where when you're inside of a car and you touch the roof, like the roof area. I guess I don't know what you call that. Is it roof? But yeah, it has that feel. So I think this has a good quality, but it's a you know it's a pouch. I prefer semi-hard case. So, but it's $20, so I think this is a good quality. And lastly, this is the paper where we actually don't care. It's nothing. Now let's talk about the cable. So the cable itself is fine. I don't like it, if I'm being honest. So the reason I have problem with the cable is that it's really stubborn. It really wants to retain the shape that it likes. So right now this thing is kind of bent like that. So so every time I try to like do the roadie wrap, it's really like stubborn. Like it really wants to retain its shape. Like right now. Like no matter what I do, it just goes back to its shape. So I don't like the cable. If it's if it's not stubborn, this is a okay cable, but every time I wanna like make it clean looking, it pisses me off. So I don't like this cable. Now this is a comparison of an actual cable that doesn't have a like annoyance of being stiff. Like look at this. You can change its shape however you want. And look at this thing compared to this one. Yeah, it just keeps its shape. Yeah, no matter what I do, it wants to keeps its shape where it came from, like how it came from. So I don't like this. Like I cannot believe that. I think I prefer the original Zero's cable. The original Zero cable was not good, but at least it's like it doesn't. It's not stubborn. But there's no like. I think the absolute worst cable in $20 range is still the Zero Two. That's the best out of garbage cables. So yeah. Now this the IM by itself. It's actually really small. I think this is the smallest IM that I have. I think. Yeah, it is the smallest IM that I have. So, but the feel on the plastics are, it is what you pay for. I feel like. I think the other IMs have a better feel on the plastic. I think it being clear also doesn't help it that it looks kind of cheap looking. But I think the cheapest looking IM out of every $20 IM that I have is probably the Gates. Yeah, I think the Gates has a terrible plastic on it. So in terms of comfort, I feel like this is the most comfortable $20 IM that I have right now. So if you have small ears, these are really good. And I think these are also good for sleeping. I'm not gonna lie, but it's plastic, so they might break easy. But they're really comfortable because they're so small. Like if you're a side sleeper, I feel like these are okay too, because they just stay like flush to your ears. I don't know. I haven't tried it, but to my experience, this thing is too small that it's like it's inside of my ears, like just being flat. Now let's talk about the sound. So TLDR, this is like a church ear gates that sounds better. But let's talk about more in detail. So for the bass, this is not a bass head, or this is not a bass light set. It's just in the right amount of bass. But it's a $20 IM, so you won't get that quality slam. But it is quite good bass. I actually like the bass on these for the $20 sets. I think it's one of the better ones. I think I would give the best bass on what I own right now. Probably the Zero Two, because these has good bass, or like good quality bass, or like I don't know what to call it, but good bass. But these are like second, third in those. So yeah, it's pretty good at bass. It has good rumble, decent punch. It's not a actually it's not a punch. It's a thump. So it's a decent thump. So I don't have any problems with the bass. So for the mids, obviously it's the star of the show. It's Tanchjim. If you listen to any Tanchjim IEMs, it's pretty much a mid-centric IEM or like vocal-centric IEM. But yeah, female vocals, these are really good for female vocals. If you really like female vocals, then that's your pick. And the male vocals can sound thin. If you're male, if you really like male vocals, then these can sound thin, but it's still good. It just becomes average. I feel like this is same review as my Fission actually, but the only difference with the Fission is that I'm not satisfied with the bass because it's 4 times the price. But with $20, I can forgive that. But this is literally similar to similar to the Fission, but worse quality. So in terms of not technical, in terms of instrument separation, it has decent instrument separation. And for the treble, I noticed that these can sound harsh sometimes. In my Fission, I think they're little less harsher. So if you're like treble sensitive, then don't get these, I guess. I just noticed some harshness in the upper mids and treble area. Okay, now we can finally talk about the controversial part of my thumbnail, I guess. It's the overrated part. So I noticed in these sets that on certain tracks, these IEM can just sound synthetic. And I try every other $20 IEM just to test it. I still notice the syntheticness of the music, but it just on these, it just sounds more synthetic. It just sound not full enough, or it just sound different. It just sounds synthetic in the different parts. Like I tried zeros. I think these sounds the best in terms of like sound quality aspect of it. And 02, it's just the same driver, but tuning wise, I don't like these. But I think I prefer listening to these more because of how cleaner they sound. So I'm not biased about the tuning aspect. It's just I think the 0 and 02 sound much more cleaner. That's why I said these are a little bit overrated. Now I didn't notice the syntheticness in Warner, but the problem with Warner is that it doesn't have details. So it's an opposite issue for the Warner. It's just that it doesn't have a really good resolution. This has okay resolution, but it just sounds synthetic. So it's like an opposite issue for these. Now let's compare to the every other $20 IM that I own right now. Well, there's 6. Technically, the gates are just not worth recommending. But if you need a cable, I would recommend the gates 100%. But if you're buying it just for like $20 IM, like you're interested more in the IM part, I'm not recommending gates. So that's end of the story for the gates. So this is a EW100P, and this is 1 or 2. This is gates. No, this is 0 and 02. So that's all the $20 IM that I own right now. And let's talk about the bass. And for the bass, my favorite bass out of the 5 is probably the 02. The bass on these are just sounds really like just has a good slam and good rumble. But next on the list is the Bunny, where it's just adequate amount. It's just more controlled, but less detail. I just think these have better bass. So yeah. And I would give the third one to these actually. Not because they have a good mid bass, because these sound unique enough out of the sets that I have that these are more in sub bass focus, because these are Harman shaped Harman tuning 26, specifically the Harman 2016. So these are If you know how 2016 IM sounded like, it's more on sub bass area, but in like 2025 recent times it's more on mid bass. So these are more unique in that term. But I'm gonna review this later down the line. And for the final one is Warner, and I guess this is the very last. I guess the Warner, but so Warner has a really not elevated, but it's a little bit elevated or like similar level to this. I think these are more have a little bit more bass, but the bass quality on these or like the resolution is just not there. So I'll give it to the like fourth round. So zero. If you know zeros, they're like in bass. They just have mid bass. They don't have mid bass, sub bass rumble, or some people just say it's lacking. I like the bass on these. It's just perfect enough for me. So that's the ranking for the bass area. So in terms of mids, these are the best for me because it's a female vocal. I really like female vocals, and they still have decent instrument separation and whatnot. But if you're leaning a warmer kind, then 1 or 2 is your pick. And the problem with one is that they just don't sound as clean as the other sets. And if you really like instrument separations, I think zeros and 02s are really good for that. Because these just sound so much better in terms of their drivers compared to these. So that's my pick for the vocals and instrument areas. And now for the treble, just get zeros. These are really bright. That's their sound signature. And maybe this one, I'm not sure about. I haven't listened to these a lot more, but I feel like these two are equal in terms of treble. They're not equal in the like amount, but they're equal in terms of like quality, I guess. And I would give Bunny next to that. Then these are the last. So this is the last comparison. This is Tanchjim Fission. This is like the big brother for the Bunny. This is around 5 times the price of the Bunny. And yeah, the reason I'm making this comparison is that every Tanchjim IEM sounds samey. Not the same, but tonality or like tuning wise, they have their own house sound. So every Tanchjim sound the same. I think I already said that, but the problem I have with Bunny is pretty much fixed on the Fission. So if you really like the sound of Bunny, these are a direct upgrade for that. But the problem I had with Fission is that I'm paying 5 times the price, but I'm not satisfied with the bass. So I think that's the one thing that I find the Fission really lacking. So that's the comparison. So now I hope you understand why I said the bunnies are kind of overrated. Because in $20 range, it's just that there's no best of the best in my opinion. It's just that some parts are doing better. Like for example, 0 and 02 just sound so much better in terms of their like resolution or like the quality of their drivers. But tonality, these are my favorite in terms of tonality. But I find the sound a little bit lacking, the sound quality. And so yeah, that's the reason why I call them overrated. Because everyone on the internet, they said that this is the best. Like just buy Bunny, but I don't agree with that. Because you have so many flavors of $20 IEM. You have your B shape. This is B shape. Like this is a Harman 2016. So Harman is B shape. That's your like $20. That's your chocolate, I guess. And this is your warmer sounding $20 IEM. So I don't know, vanilla. And let's just call this cookies and cream. So a brighter sounding vocal focus IEM. These are your warmer. And you have these two 0 and 02s, which is some people don't like zeros because they're too bright. But I feel like the sound on these, if you can EQ 0 and 02s, I think they're really good for their price. They have garbage cables though, especially 02. 02, you have the worst cable. I swear to God. Seriously. So, yeah. I hope you won't get mad that I said they're overrated. But that's what I think of. It's just that in $20 IEM, these are not the best of the best. because they sound synthetic. If they don't sound synthetic, I could say they're the best of the best.